Hangout. We have a bunch of good guys here for you to chat wrestling today. I want to let them introduce themselves. We'll start at the bottom left-hand side of your screen and just work our way across. So, Alex, just go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your wrestling background.
All right, hey, I'm Alex Dieringer, obviously from Oklahoma State. I'm a Wisconsin native, and I'm a third year in college, 20 years old, and studying education. So,
thanks, man. Andy?
I'm Andy Hamilton with Des Moines Register Wrestling Beat Reporter.
Awesome. Mr. Cael?
I'm Cael Sanderson. I'm a head coach at Penn State University right now.
Coach Smith?
John Smith, Oklahoma State University.
Coach Brands?
Tom Brands. I'm in Iowa.
Kyle?
How you doing? I'm Cael Snyder, and I'm training at the Olympic Training Center right now.
Awesome. Well, guys, I know I have a few questions for you. Andy's going to ask a couple questions of you guys as well. I just wanted to open things up, and if we could all just sort of discuss our personal roles we've played in this movement. I'd like to kick it to Coach Smith first for this. You know, how have you been active in this movement? I know you've been really active in this, member of CPOW, and so what have you been doing personally for the Keep Olympic Wrestling movement, and you know, what messages are you trying to spread to the wrestling community and even just the guys on your team?
Well, I think first of all, I think when something like this happens, a lot of people have questions for you just locally, statewide, and I think taking the time to answer those questions is a way of promoting your sport. Obviously, most people were shocked by the decision made back on February, I believe, the 12th. So a lot of my job has been answering a lot of questions locally and throughout the state, and people that wonder what's happening. And of course, CPOW, the Committee Preserve Olympic Wrestling, has been very involved with Bill and Jim Shear leading us. I think we've made a real difference. I can't really discuss what goes on in those meetings, but I will say that I've learned a lot about our sport over the last 4 or 5 months that I didn't know, and that's how it's ran, who's running it, what's changing, what we need to change, and obviously we are a small piece of it. You know, worldwide, there's a lot of people very active in this movement, and it's not just the United States. I will say that we took the lead, and what happened in a short time, the world came together fast, quickly, to have that vote turned around in 3 short months. That says a lot about the people involved in wrestling throughout the world.
Coach Brands or Cael, do you have anything sort of add to that, how you've been dealing with it personally in your respective areas of the country with your guys?
Go ahead, Tom.
I think that it's one of those things where you rally because you have to rally, and you're fighting because you have to fight. And you know, a lot of times when you're fighting, you're used to fighting maybe with just physicalness. And this is a fight that had to be political, and it had to be you had to use your smarts, and you had to do it the right way to get what we've got so far. And I'll say that I feel good about the momentum personally. I don't think I'm quite as involved as John is. I know Coach Gable is involved among a lot of other people, but I think the momentum is in the right direction, and I think wrestling has done a very good job politically and in using your brain, which, you know, a lot of times it's hard to fight that way, but we've had to do it, and there's still going to be work to be done even if we do get back in. So we got to keep a good thing going, but first thing we got to do September 8th is win that vote, and then you keep a good thing going.
Very good. So let me ask you guys this. We all know your accolades, Olympic champions, but what can you guys talk about what that journey, your Olympic journey, means to you, just so people understand what's at stake here, how it felt for you guys to win a gold medal for your country at the Olympics, what sets the Olympics apart from everything else? All right, Cael, can we start with you on that one?
Sure. Well, in wrestling, the Olympics are the ultimate goal, obviously, and as soon as I knew what the Olympics were, that's what I wanted to do. There were times in my career there getting down towards the Olympics that I couldn't see life without a gold medal. It's just one of those things. Obviously, that would have been just fine had I not won one. But it's a big deal. It's very important. And it's a dream, and it's hope for our kids. It keeps them working, and it's what everybody wants to do.
Can either of you guys echo on that, Coach Smith?
Well, I think for me personally, it's something that started, clear back into the second grade. I think it happens with a lot of youth, probably Cael as well, and Tom. It's something that we saw in our own states, especially in Oklahoma and obviously in Iowa. You see native Oklahomans winning gold medals, which in second grade, a guy by the name of Wayne Wells. I remember when he came back and as a young 7-year-old, 8-year-old, getting to touch his medals, and it was reality. And for me anyway, that was something that if he can do it, I can do it. And as young as second grade, you start developing those thoughts, and obviously you have no idea of what it's going to take, but if you keep that belief alive, the journey is as enjoyable as winning the gold medal. And it is about the journey. It's about the journey of being an Olympic champion or Olympian or a medalist. Those are the things that we remember most, is the training and the workouts and the discipline. And for that reason, there's no other sport like it. The discipline it takes, the self-sacrifice that it takes, really is what people are in the world are screaming about, and really believe over the September the 8th, like Tom said, when and if we get pushed through, we should take advantage of that to make sure people recognizes really what Olympic journey is in the sport of wrestling.
Tom, did you have anything else to add to that? How your personal Olympic journey, what it means to you?
I think they sum it up pretty good. One thing I will say is, it is about the future, and as a coach, you're geared toward duplicating that for the guys that are in your program, the guys that are competing now, the young guys that even you're recruiting. And we got 2 guys on right now that are wired that way as well. And so it is about duplicating what John and Cael have done already, and that's why this fight is such a big deal. That's why this September 8th vote is such a big deal. Let's keep a good thing going.
Thanks, Coach. All right, I want to kick it to our 2 other guests here, Cael and Alex, for a couple questions. Let's talk about your Junior World Championship experience. You guys just got back a day or 2 ago, actually. Cael, first off, let's talk about your finals match a little bit. You had a little scare there in the first period, but you were able to fight through and off your back to get that tech. Can you take me through those moments, what your mindset was, what it meant to you to pull off a victory like that and win a world championship?
Sure. I'm not used to really getting thrown to my back like that, so I challenged upper body. So when I was put in those positions against the Armenian, it was a little bit different. But especially when I was on my back, I just realized that I either had to fight for a goal of mine or basically give up and get pinned. And I wasn't gonna let something I worked for basically a year now be taken away from me in a few seconds. So I just had to fight off my back, and then once I got back to my feet, keep my composure and keep wrestling tough and wearing them down. And once I started scoring some points, started gaining a little bit more confidence. Just basically just kept my offense going and got score points. Yep.
Has it sunk in for you? That you just won a world championship. For USA, it's a huge deal. Has it sunk into you yet?
Probably not. You know, when I got back here to the OTC, there was this senior level training camp, so I wanted to get in the room and start training with them and helping those guys win world titles too. So I haven't had much time to think about it yet, but probably in the future it'll sink in a little bit more.
Okay. Well, Alex, you obviously got a silver medal over there at the Junior Worlds. Can you talk about your opportunity to go over there and get to compete for a world championship? Made the finals. You know, how does a tournament like this prepare you for your future in wrestling?
Oh, it's great. You know, it's one of the highest levels of wrestling. Obviously, there's juniors and seniors, but it's just great to go overseas and represent your country and you know, just fight for something that you've been working for your whole life, pretty much. So it's a great opportunity.
Well, let me ask both of you. What would it mean? You guys are the next generation coming up. What would it mean to you should wrestling not win this vote? How does that affect your life and your goals in wrestling? Either one of you can go for it.
I think it's huge because I mean this is what I've been working for. I wanna get an Olympic title one day. So it's pretty much everything to me because you know wrestling's my life pretty much. It's a big part of it. So I really wanna not just for me but just for other people too. I just really gonna stay positive and then hope for the best.
Yeah, you know, my wrestling coach back home, he was telling me when they first made a decision to take out the Olympics, he was telling me they'd probably hold a world championship that year instead of the Olympics, and it'd almost be the same. But it's really not the same because when you're young or even at this age, you're training to be an Olympic champion. Being a world champion's great, but the ultimate goal is to win at the Olympic stage, and without it, it's almost like taking a piece of younger wrestlers and wrestlers our age and even older part of their life away.
Thanks for your answers there, guys. Andy, I want to kick it over to you. Let you ask these guys a question or two.
Yeah, I guess the first thing for John, Cael, and Tom, you know, what crossed your mind when you're standing on top of the podium and they're playing the national anthem? You've got the gold medal around your neck. What memories do you have of that moment?
I think for me it was one of those things where there's a lot of self-satisfaction, but I think the way you're wired for so long to always get to the next thing, you're already getting to the next thing. I'm not sure I knew what the next thing was after that, but that's kind of how you think. It's a big deal, but it's a big deal now, probably even more. But really the big deal is these guys.
In '88, just what a proud feeling it was standing up there and listening to the national anthem, the United States of America. Second one is a little bit more of just a little bit of self-satisfying and feeling good that you know when your career's coming to an end that you finished out on top. You know that was good that you know that you can go forward from here without you know looking back and having a bad tournament. Just closing out on top, it was a little bit of a relief for me.
Cael, did you have anything?
Well, I mean, they both crushed it, but yeah, I just think it's a very peaceful feeling. I mean, when you think about winning a tournament, pretty much every day, your whole life, you know, from the time you understand what the Olympics really are, then it happens. It's a peaceful feeling. I think that's the best way to describe it for me. But I mean, it takes the whole family, your whole family. I just remember the family and my coaches being there. A lot of, like Coach Smith said, sacrifices. My wife. Everyone's part of that dream. It's not just the athlete. It's your coaches and your parents, and the sacrifices they made to get us all over the country, as young kids, and our coaches, and all the way up to board. So it's a great thing, and takes a lot. It takes a lot of people, to make one gold medal. So that's for sure.
Now you've all three been on the USA coaching staffs working together, with the World and Olympic teams. Cael and Tom, you guys are the World Team coaches this year. What's it like for you guys being able to work together and come together, even though you're rivals during the season? But what's it like being able to come together and focus on the USA efforts, and maybe talk a little bit about how this year's team is looking since you guys are in camp right now?
I think for me, here's the thing. It's been a while since the United States has been on top, and I think there's momentum. I think there's a lot of good things happening, but let's get back on top. And when you're trying to get back on top, you need all the help you can get. And there's a lot of good help in that room, and there's a lot of good wrestlers from a lot of different programs in that room that are all coming together. So that's really what it's about right now. And you just keep getting better every day with people that are around you that are helping you get better. It's not really us versus them type thing. Even maybe when you're in the same arena competing against them, it is. And then then you get together and there's some commonality and you go forward together, and then you see each other across the mat again, and then let it fly, and then you come together again. We got to get the United States back on top. I know that.
Thank you, Coach. Cael, I did want to ask you, what was it like being on the coaching end of things last year? Working with Jake and guiding him to his gold medal. What's it like being able to see someone who you're so heavily invested in reach that ultimate pinnacle?
It's amazing, really. Just you're very happy, obviously, for the kid, and Jake Varner is a kid that would do everything he was ever asked to do, and an extremely loyal kid, and a kid that lives the lifestyle that it takes to be successful. And when a kid tells you he wants to be an Olympic champion, when you're recruiting him, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to do everything I can to help you, and then he ends up reaching that goal. It's a lot of fun, because as soon as they tell you what their goals are, well, as a coach, now that's your goal, and you take it personally, and you do everything you can, to try to, to be a part of it. And I was real happy. I'm still real happy for Jake. I mean, he, did an awesome job, and he'll be an Olympic champion for the rest of his life. So, it's a great thing.
Now, Coach Smith, you had a similar situation with Coleman Scott last year. Can you talk about what it was like to experience his journey? Going through all the ups and downs, and what one has to fight through to get to the podium at the Olympic Games. It's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I think his fight just to make the team is what probably led him to his bronze medalist. Definitely an eyelash away from wrestling for a gold. It was a tough journey. I mean, there wasn't any question, but I think it was his attitude when he looked at it and wasn't given a lot of alternatives, but this is what you got to do if you're going to make the team. It's a good feeling as a coach when they accept that responsibility instead of whining and looking at it as everybody's out against me. Sometimes that does help, but I think when you're trying to reach this level, it has no real place in it. You have to come to peace with things, and maybe there is some people that don't want you in. That doesn't really matter. Let's take this journey, and let's make sure that in the end we have a smile on our face. And that's what he did. He did a good job of listening to his coaches, and he did a good job when he got there of staying focused and wrestling probably his best tournament he's wrestled in his entire life, and that's where you want to wrestle. So it wasn't enough for the gold, but I think when he walked away, he felt like, I wrestled well, I wrestled good. If bronze medal is what I got to take home, then that's what I'll take home.
And Coach Brands, obviously you have one of your boys, Brent Metcalf, on the team this year, and he's looked really good as of late. What does he have to do to win a medal this year? Do you think maybe the new rules benefit his style in any way that could lend him to getting a medal more?
I think there's no question that the way that he wrestles, his style, the motor that he has, the reputation that he's built, being able to wrestle hard for a long period of time, I think the rule changes have been good for him. That being said, it doesn't matter to him if you change the rules, because you got to go with it. That's what competitors do. He has done a good job. He does look good. He won a tournament in Armenia a couple weeks ago, and that's a lot to build on. And now we got to go to the pinnacle. The pinnacle is really the Olympic Games, but we got to go to the pinnacle for 2013, and that's where we're at. He understands that. Coach Smith touched on accountability and responsibility and accepting it, and Brent Metcalf and Cael Sanderson talked about how Jake Varner lives that lifestyle, and Metcalf, he embodies both those characteristics, what those guys are talking about.
All right. So this is the last question I had, and then I'll kick it back to Andy if you have another question or two. For you guys, there's been a lot going on since the February 12th vote. Are you guys satisfied with the direction wrestling is going? And should wrestling win this vote to keep its spot in the Olympics, what does it need to do to ensure that it's successful and growing going forward? Maybe start with Cael on that one.
Well, I'm not on the inside. I don't really know what's going on with the voting. I know, FILA's announced, some big changes with the weight class changes and, this and that. I have a hard time thinking that wrestling would be dropped just because it's, it was more than just wrestling people that are disappointed and frustrated. It's, it's Olympic fans that everything that the Olympics stand for is kind of under the gun right now. You have the pure of the original sports, have to, be alert right now, and I think we have their support, and I think the outcry is a huge thing. But and you have presidents of countries backing wrestling. I know, Russia, publicly, Iran, I think Bulgaria just a week ago. It's a big deal. I can't see wrestling being dropped, but then again, you have a secret closed ballot where you got to believe that guys are they're going to do what's in the best interests of their country, or if they have a medal on the line in a certain sport, hopefully. But I think I got to believe wrestling's in good shape. I just I hope we don't give up too much to get it back when maybe we don't have to. That's my biggest concern. Just because going to 6 weight classes is that's not a lot. Wrestling isn't taekwondo where it's a striking. It's a more like a judo where I think they have 7 weight classes in judo. It's body weight. Body weight's a big deal in wrestling. So is 6 weight classes enough? I don't think so, but obviously we got to get back in the game. So it's you got to trust the the leaders and that they know what's right. But I think we also got to realize that wrestling's a little bit bigger around the world than maybe we give it credit for.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Smith, Coach Brands, do you have anything to add to that?
Just I think Cael hit it. It's leadership, and I think that we've moved pretty quickly in putting somebody in leadership. There isn't any question. I think we're here because of leadership. I think we were dropped in February because of leadership and not a lot of accountability there, and not a lot of people aware of what's actually going on. We've all been a part of it, and but I will say this: I think the move that FILA has made is good for our sport. I think what we need to recognize is if we get pushed through, then it's our job. It's our job to let the world know the popularity of the sport worldwide. We got a little bit of a tendency of not really out there promoting ourselves when we should, and the good and the values of the sport. So, although we've gone 6-6-6, I think that was an important move for us, and I think from this point forward, I do believe if you look at Olympics in the past, there's been weight classes that have changed several times. I believe by 2020, there's a possibility we could have 8, 8, and 8. Once we look at our numbers and obviously the IOC, that is not something that has to stick. I mean, it is something that we need to sell our sport. If we want more weights, then we must sell our sport. And we have the numbers. We have almost 200 countries that participate in the sport. That's monstrous. That puts us, I'm sure, in the top 5 of participating countries that compete in this sport. So, there's a lot of I could talk about on this, but I will say that let's move forward and let's be positive and let's make sure that we're backing FILA right now, because I do believe we have great leadership that is making decisions for our athletes and athletes across the world.
Thanks, Coach. Andy, did you have another question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask. It seems like we've heard mixed messages from FILA. 1 minute we're hearing from President Lalovic that he wants to make it so anybody can come in off the street and understand the sport in a one afternoon of sitting and watching wrestling. Other people have said they want to gear the rules more towards the people that are already going to the World Championships and the Olympic Championships. Just from all your perspectives, what is best for the long-term health of the sport and growth?
Anyone want to tackle that one?
Go ahead.
I think you're talking a lot about rules and time format, and those are all good things, and I think we're going to end up in a good place. I think you got to keep going forward and keep tweaking it, making it better. But I will say that a lot of it has to do with the individuals that are actually competing. I think it's real important that our athletes are exciting to watch. So let's get a good rules format, which I think we're heading there, but then let's get athletes that are going to compete hard and in an exciting way. And, you say winning's important. Well, winning is important, but what's the best way to win anyway with that excitement? I mean, you can win, and you can win with that excitement. And, the most exciting wrestler in the world right now is Jordan Burroughs. And, let's get more guys like that. I mean, look at these two guys. They revolutionized the style. John Smith, he revolutionized the style. That's exciting. And we need more guys like that to promote the sport.
Good deal.
Well, let me jump in. I think, wrestling's it's just, I feel like, we just need growth. We need growth at all levels. And we need, we need to be looking at numbers and making sure that our numbers are growing every year. That's at the youth level. That's at, the attendance at the U.S. Open. That's the, the TV ratings of the Olympics need to be growing every year. I mean, I think, I feel like we always are trying to make some adjustment or, some rule change or something that's going to fix the sport where, that's probably not going to happen. It's just going to, the sport's going to grow by everybody just kind of taking a position and making sure that they're doing a better job. And whether it's me at my program at Penn State, we need to make sure we have more people in the stands every year, and our GPAs are getting better, and we're making progress. Same thing with USA Wrestling. Same thing with everyone else, and the international wrestling. We need growth. We need steady growth, and I don't think there's a silver bullet for our sport. Yeah, we need heroes. Jordan Burroughs right now, you would think, he's as good an athlete as there is in the world in any sport. He's got a 60 or 70 match, I don't know how many match win streak he has, but that's unbelievable. You know, I mean, I don't watch golf, but if Tiger Woods is playing, I'll stop and watch, and that's so if we can promote those guys somehow. I don't have the answer. I'm not a marketing guy, but I just get worried that we're always trying to make an adjustment. It's the same thing in NCAA wrestling. Every year we're making little rule changes. Why? They're not going to make a difference. We just need to make progress. That's all we got to do. That's my, yeah.
Thanks, Coach. I have a couple fan questions here we pulled off Twitter for you guys. Any one of you guys can answer one of these. Who was the biggest inspiration for you guys to become a successful wrestler? Anyone can go.
To be at the top, I think, the people that inspire you are your coaches. I mean, Coach Cael, no doubt, was an inspiration. But I think John Smith hit on it earlier when he's talking about, as a little kid, what you're looking up to. And in those days, it was the Schultz brothers and John Smith for me in high school. And, it's finding the people in the sport that you want to be like. So, let's get some world champions in 2013. So, got a lot of little kids out there. They got a lot of options. How's that? We want a lot of options.
Well, there we go. Cael, who's your biggest inspiration?
Probably Coach Sanderson. I didn't really know Olympic wrestling was even a real thing until probably I was about 5th or 6th grade. So once I figured out wrestling was in the Olympics, and I started to watch a little bit more video and found Coach Sanderson because I was always a bigger guy and I liked the way he wrestled, and I trained to be an Olympic gold medalist just like him.
Now, let's see. Coach Smith, what was the toughest competitor you ever faced?
Well, I had several of them. I'd have to say within our nation, Randy Lewis was a fierce competitor. I'm glad I got to hit Tom Brands while he was young. I'll just say that. The way he looked in '96, which I got to watch him win his gold medal, he was, no question, probably better than anyone I wrestled during my time. Stefan Sarkisian from Russia was tough for me. Bulgarian, Cuban, obviously, who I struggled with in my career. It seemed like everybody else beat him but me. Although I won a few, but those are the guys that, looking back, that kind of paint a picture. Is the biggest reason why I got better and better is because of guys like the Russian, of course, the Bulgarian, and guys like Lewis, who you knew you had to be on your game to make the team. And if you made the team, you had a great shot at winning.
I'll give one over to Alex. What's the greatest challenge you've had to overcome in your wrestling journey?
I'd have to say staying motivated, I'd say. I mean, I love the sport, and just going every day in the practice room and just keeping a positive mindset, and I think that's what did it.
Thanks, man. Andy, do you have any other questions for our guests?
Well, I was kind of interested to hear how Cael and Alex would answer that question that you just asked Tom and some of the other guys about who their inspirations were and the guys that they looked up to.
Alex, you want to answer that?
Yeah, mine was John Smith. I was coming out of high school. I knew Oklahoma State, and how their big tradition is, and just watching his film and stuff, and I was amazed of how he developed his own style and really revolutionized it for himself.
Can you take Coach down yet?
I haven't wrestled him.
And you're not.
I'd also like to say that, you know, I'm pretty much being inspired every day just by getting online and watching other people wrestle from different countries and still from America. Just every day, if you get online and type in Olympic wrestling and watch some videos on YouTube, you're gonna be inspired by those guys wrestling. A countless number of people.
I think so too. I think that's a good place to end it, guys. We're running short on time. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you guys had fun. We had a good discussion here. We'll be back next week with our final hangout of the series with FILA President Lalovich. So yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.